Welcome back to the Capes and Tights podcast right here on capesandtights.com. I'm your host, Justin Soderberg. This episode is once again brought to you by our friends over at Galactic Comics and Collectibles at galacticcomicsandcollectibles.com. We welcome back author Brian McAuley to the program to discuss his upcoming book, Breathe In, Bleed Out, from Poison Pen Press. We talked a little bit about Curse of the Reaper and its paperback release coming out. But Brian is a WGA screenwriter and author of books such as Curse of the Reaper, Candy Cain Kills, the sequel, Candy Cain Kills Again, and the upcoming Breathe In, Bleed Out. He's also written films like Dismissed or Nanny Cam and an episode of Fuller House on season 1 even. So check out this episode. But before you do, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, all those places. You can subscribe, rate, review over on Apple or Spotify or wherever you find your podcasts. You can go over to YouTube and find the video portion of this podcast as well. And as always, you can go to capesandtights.com for so much more. This is screenwriter and author of Breathe In, Bleed Out, Brian McAuley, right here on the Capes and Tights podcast. Enjoy, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast, Brian. How are you today?
Thank you so much for having me back, Justin. I'm doing all right today. Thanks for asking.
That's good. How's the weather in Arizona?
It is absolute hell. I'm not going to lie. We had a relatively mild June, July, and then August hit, and it was like now it's all the 110 plus days are rolling in, and it wears on you.
It's a dry heat, Brian, though. It's a dry heat.
Can't complain about a dry heat. Although I will say I did go back to Jersey this summer to visit family, and I was like, that humidity, like
not fun.
85 and humid is not as bad as 105 and dry, I'll say.
It's
worse is what I mean.
Well, I was driving yesterday. We were driving back from our camp here in Maine, and I was telling my wife, I was like, what's funny is I don't remember a summer in Maine where we had multiple weeks, like a week and then a couple weeks off and a week of 95, 98, 100 degree weather, like weather that felt over 100, like the real feel. I said, I don't even remember that. I was like, I honestly remember like always saying when I got the 98 degrees, you're like, oh, cool, we got this for about a 5-day stretch and then that's it. We're done. And I think this is the third 3-day stretch here in Maine that we're like 95 plus, feels like over 100 right now. Today's like 97 and it feels like over 100 in Maine. And then my living room has the air conditioner on right now and it's like 80. I just can't keep up. But it's a not a fun time right now. But I say, hey, you know what, Maine, we've got like 3 total weeks, maybe a month of throughout the entire year that suck, whether it heat, snow, rain, whatever it is. It's like a 30 days over 365 that suck. So I'm gonna take it. I'm okay with this.
That's the perspective, right? You got to do the math and count your blessings there.
I've said it can't more times than not, where it's like, oh, this is so nice. So I'm not gonna complain too much about it. Plus, that's what all the other Mainers do. That's all they do is complain about. They walk into the gas station, they get their donut and coffee in the morning, and they're like, "Oh, it's raining out." So,
yeah, definitely don't complain to me because you will find zero sympathy for weather-related complaints.
but you know New England too. You know the Northeast. You know this area, so it's okay. It is what it is. But
I am excited to do some traveling there for tour in the fall because I'm like, I need that. I need some crisp fall weather. Hopefully, it will be crisp. We'll see.
It's on my notes because I'm going to see you in Framingham.
Yes,
it's spooktastic. I'm driving down, so like we just made the plans. My parents live in Connecticut, and so we were trying to figure out. My wife's actually both days. So Spooktastic fair in Framingham, Massachusetts on September 13th, and the Haverhill, Christopher Golden's Haverhill, Massachusetts Library October scare thing that goes on down there. I'm not the name is beyond me right now, but that happens on like sometime in the end of October, and both those dates my wife's like, no, I'm busy. I'm like, are you kidding me? I've got a 4-year-old and an 18-month-old. I'm like, I gotta figure out. And so we worked it out. My mom's gonna come up from Connecticut and meet me in Framingham. She's gonna take my son and take him back to Connecticut, and after it's about an hour-ish from Framingham. So I was like, I'll just get out after I'm done with that. I'll drive to Connecticut, hang out with them for the night or two, and then come back. So it's gonna work out perfectly.
Yeah,
and I'm so excited. So I'm pumped about it. And I was like, she's like, can you pick one of them? I'm like, no.
I need to do both.
Well, last year, Christopher Golden's thing, the Halloween one, my son got sick like 2 days prior and was sick the whole. I had to cancel. And so this year, I'm like, no, I'm going. I don't care.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'll bring my
Yes,
sick kid and give it to my mom.
exactly.
But no, it's gonna be fun. It's exciting. That's the guy, and that's the thing is some of them have the same authors that I've met over and over and over again in person.
Right.
But some of them, obviously, you're from the West Coast-ish
Yeah.
of the United States, so it's nice to have you over here in the East, Northeast,
I know. I'm very much
hanging out.
looking forward to that. Yeah, it's going
It'll
to
be
be a
fun,
great one.
and you'll be touting your book, Breathe In, Bleed Out, over at
Yes.
Poison Press. I wanted to start really quickly. How did it land at Poison Pen Press? Because I really like what they're doing, and I was
Yeah.
really excited to see it land there. So just quickly for those book nerds like myself, where how did that happen?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like Curse of the Reaper was my debut in 2022 with Talus Press, and that was a one book deal. And then I went and did the two Candy King books with
Yeah.
Shortwave, the novellas. So when I had a new novel, it was going back out on submission to every publisher. And I'm so glad that it landed at Poison Pen because it just felt like the perfect fit. You know, they've done a lot of thrillers like Frida McFadden and many others, and they're branching more into horror now. And when my now editor read it, she totally understood the place that this book lands, especially as kind of a potential gateway for thriller readers
Hmm.
who might not know they like horror. I think a slasher is kind of the entryway for some
Hmm.
folks. So yeah, I was thrilled, and I got to credit them with. It had a different title at the time. They tested titles, they tested covers, and the title and cover that we landed on are just so phenomenal that
Hmm.
and that's how I know for sure. I was like, yeah, they get it. They know what they're doing.
It's funny how Pen to me is like one of those ones where I'm like, oh, I like this book, like this book, like this book. And then you look who publishes them all, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like it's every once in a while when you see all these movies that are like or horror movies that are like on Shudder, you're like, I understand that now.
Yes.
Or you like a movie and it's directed by the same person or something. So those kind of things where like when there's this connection that you don't realize until after you like finish reading and I'm like, who published that? And you look at, oh, it's Poison Pen. That makes sense.
Yeah. There's like a holistic approach that it's like,
Yes.
okay, it all adds together.
It makes a lot of sense, and I've actually never met I mean, read a Frida McFadden, so I don't know if it's good or not. But I've heard
Yeah.
good
Yeah. They
things.
are
It's
page
not
turners.
it's not this.
No. My
It's
book.
not Breathe In, Bleed Out.
Yeah.
I tell you one thing I don't like. Can I tell you what I don't like about this book?
Yeah, please. God,
I
yes.
love the title. I
Make me
love the
hurt.
title. Love the title. Love the title. I
Yeah.
don't like the fact that it hurts your search engine optimization.
Oh.
And I'm
How?
only saying that because when you have a comma in your title, it
Oh.
becomes two keywords.
I didn't know
And
that.
so, like when I type in this, like for this episode, I'll type it in for YouTube and all that stuff, and I'll do it. You can't make breathe in, comma breathe out, or bleed out one search word.
Oh,
You can
interesting.
in certain ways and you do things, but like other thing like YouTube and the places that it's technically two ones. You have to either leave the comma out or it
Yeah.
becomes two search words. That's just a geeky and nerdy thing that it probably doesn't hurt it because if you type it in, it finds it. So it's not like it's
Right.
not finding it. I'm just saying, like to me, it was that, and then there's a couple other people who have comic book titles that are the same thing. They're like these huge long sentences and it has a comma in the middle, and I'm like, why'd you do that?
I never realized that. That makes
Yeah.
sense though. Huh.
So like, the review website platform we use, you type in keywords obviously for such an optimization, and so like I had to figure out. I don't know if I left the comma out or just used one of them, but or whatever. But yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's the complaint, dude. You're good.
All right. Well, it's been a good chat. Thanks.
5 stars. That's the for all the things I love about this book. Here's this. No. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Scream.
Yeah.
I paused to talk to you. Final Destination Bloodlines. I hadn't seen it yet, so I'm watching that.
Oh no. Go finish it. We'll talk later.
We want to watch it right now and do a review episode. No.
Yeah. Right.
It's phenomenal, honestly. I was very surprised at how really good it actually is. But Scream, Final Destination, those are ones I loved the uniqueness of kills that are in Final Destination. I mean, the movies have never been like award winning. You mean like they're not like out there to like win awards. It's there to show cool, gruesome, unique kills that you think are going one way, and all of a sudden
Yeah.
out of nowhere it doesn't go that way, and you're like, oh, they're gonna survive, and then slam, it bus hits them.
Yes.
It's insane. And then I
Yeah.
love Scream. So Scream is honestly, I have a VHS right here for those who can see it, signed
Yes.
by Roger Jackson. It's I met him a couple of years ago. It's such a great and iconic franchise to me. And
Yeah.
so when you can use those two series as a relating, when people are like, it's like this, it's always gonna get me to read it. Then you add, obviously, then you add you in. I'm gonna read anything you write anyway now, but like
Thank you.
that to me was huge. I'm guessing you're a huge fan of Scream. I'm guessing that's a given. And but also, does that mean that you were also a fan of Final Destination and that style of movie and that whole like? I mean, I don't want to give too much away in this movie, but there's some pretty gruesome, unique
Oh, yeah.
kills in this book. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, are you a fan of those franchises?
100%. If I could point to any two influences for this book, especially Scream and Final Destination, and I talk about this a bit in my author's note at the end of how
Mhm.
like Scream really was the gateway film for me, and it remains just a reference point, both especially in terms of tone. That like, yes, it's a horror movie and it's scary and it's gruesome, but also it's really funny and really just fun, just like
Mhm.
capital F fun. And to
Mhm.
me, Final Destination hits those same notes. I think that it's the suspense of those big gruesome death scenes, like it incites giggles as much as gasps, and like I love that balance so much. And for me, yeah, I don't think I could write just as like a slasher where the killer is just stabbing everybody. I would, as a writer, just get super bored. And so for me, it's like, okay, how do I build these kind of cinematic set pieces in a novel that
Mhm.
feel like that give those Final Destination vibes, and make them as gruesome as possible, and not have to worry about like, can we do this with practical effects? Are we going to need CGI? Like the
Well,
beauty
it's
of writing
cheaper.
books. Yeah, it's like
It's
just
way
go.
cheaper to do those kills. It's when your book gets adapted into a film, they're like, ah, Brian, what the hell did you do to us?
Yep,
And yeah, they're trying
exactly.
to do some of those kills, and someone's like, well, why didn't you do this kill? It's like, well, it wasn't in the budget. We decided not to do that one because it wasn't in the budget. Yeah, you're right though. You could do it without having to worry about how it's actually done. You just have to explain how the kill happens.
Yeah, that was when I was writing Candy Cain Kills. There was a moment when I was in revisions and I extended a death scene to include an exploding car because I realized I was like, wait a second, this isn't a screenplay going to financiers. Like, let's blow some shit up, man. Like,
Have you seen Velocipaster?
I have, yes,
There's a scene at the beginning. And I don't want to give away too much because it's at the beginning, so people it is what it is.
yeah,
Spoiler alert for that. But there's a scene where they blow up a car, and all it says is "enter a car blowing up." There's like a
yes,
picture on it, and when you're watching it, you're like, "Wait, was that a oops? Like, did we just see not a final cut, or they run out of money in the
right,
budget?" And I'm like, "No, it's for them to be like, we're not taking this serious. We don't have the money to do this. We're
yeah,
just going to put this here, and you're going to laugh, and you're going to move on." And now I'm talking about this movie on a podcast. So like,
yeah.
there's that, that aspect of it. But yeah, you could do what you want in a book, really. You just have to write the words on the page, and your editor has to be like, "Yep, that sounds good," and you're good to go.
Yeah, yeah, and for this book like that, that's where I started with the concept of Breathe In, Bleed Out was the a slasher set at a wellness retreat because I realized that there were these props and set pieces from saunas to sound baths to yoga studios, and I was like, well, I can build my set pieces around this location and all of these props and make turn things into murder weapons that people that might ruin them forever for people, which I've gotten some messages from people to that end, which is
Yep.
that's my job.
Well, that's your goal. I mean, that's I just finished actually last night. I just finished Why I Love Horror from
Oh
Saga
yeah.
Press, the advanced copy there, and it's the essays of all these horror authors who are writing about how they love horror and how they got into horror and things like that. But yeah, it's one of those things that like you're there to have like the horror genre is just there's so many ways you can go about this, and I
Hmm.
think that's what Scream always set apart for me is because it never took itself really that seriously like it did. They made a good movie. It's
Yeah.
quality, it's well produced, it's obviously Wes Craven, fingers on it and all that stuff. But it's like one of those things that like we're gonna have fun with this. Like this is not gonna matter. And I feel like horror is like one of those few genres that can
Yeah.
do that. I wrote in my review of it that it's published later on this week that it's like you can do a heist horror, you can do a comedy horror, you can do
Yes.
horror drama, you can do horror superhero, you can do all that stuff. It's really hard to do a romance superhero movie or a romance heist movie or like it does nothing against romance novels. They're really 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 popular. People like them, so I don't want to crap all over them. But I'm just like there's something about that, and I think that Scream to me is different than your Halloweens and your Elm Streets in those ones because of the fact that it has this I said this almost arrogance to it that we're just gonna make this fun movie and it's gonna be horrifying at times and whatever. And I felt that the second I started reading this book, I was like, this is something I like because
Oh,
it's different than your other books that are on the market right now or gonna be on the market right now. September's busy, by the way.
Oh,
I don't know if you knew
geez,
that.
yes. It's insanity.
I just reminded that when it's September, when this book comes out, was September 2nd. I was
Yep.
like, wait, and then September 9th is this. And there's like three books coming out on September 9th, and there's two books coming out on September 2nd.
I know, like
Um,
Clay, Eric,
yeah.
Rachel, I forget who else. It's just it's jam packed. But yeah, and I think the thing that for Scream, another takeaway for me is just like loving all of the characters in it,
Mhm.
and that's another kind of way that I feel like I always want to approach a slasher is like making sure that it's not just about, the final girl, but about all of those secondary
Yeah.
characters, like having kind of fully realized identities and making them fun as well, and playing with character dynamics. Like that's part of the fun of a slasher is those group
hmm
dynamic that are at play. Yeah.
And I've always felt like from the first time I ever watched something like Scream or read this book, for example, it's like you always want you don't want any of them to be the killer, but
Right.
you also have like a handful of people you want to be the killer at the same time. Like
Yes.
somehow you want them all to be innocent, and all of a sudden out of nowhere you're like, haha, you didn't know about this guy sitting on the top of the mountain shooting people. Like,
Yeah.
or you want like this group of people. So there is a handful of people I'm like, if Brian makes this guy the killer, I'm gonna be so happy right now because like this guy's a kind of an asshole. But I like the fact that like it's like Negan in Walking Dead. You're like you like to hate him, and so yeah,
Yes.
there's like this likableness to all the characters. But in the same sense, you're like, yeah, if that guy turns out to be the or that girl turns out to be the killer, I'm okay with that because they're kind of a dick.
Yeah, and that's, I think that was also the fun of writing this compared to my previous books was this was my first time doing the proper murder mystery,
Mhm.
which, slashers like Freddy, Jason, Michael, like you know who the killer is. You're
Yeah.
not waiting for Michael Myers to be unmasked and like, oh, it was you, like it's
Mhm.
Michael Myers. But like what I love about Scream, and then, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Urban
Yep.
Legend, Valentine, which I just rewatched last week and still stand by. I love those murder mystery red herring filled
Mhm.
stories because they're just again, it's just pure fun. It's
Mhm.
it's like it's a game, it's a puzzle, and you're looking at these characters with scrutiny in a way that increases engagement, I think.
And then setting it in something like a wellness retreat too is that juxtaposition of like people like trying to find themselves and become better people
Yes.
turn out to be slaughtered while they're
That
there. It's
was
just that is perfect too. Like I love that part too. It's similar to if anybody's read Candy Cain Kills, like the murdering happening in a church kind of thing, where it's like
right.
you're expected a different outcome when you go to church.
Yes,
You
it's
expect a
not.
different outcome when you go to a wellness retreat, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would hope you're not expecting a bloodbath, but that definitely was, another thing that for me that conceptually I was like, I have a lot that I want to say or dig into about wellness culture and spirituality and the idea of like characters trying to kind of heal themselves while there is someone or something trying to do the opposite. Felt like a nice juxtaposition for kind of the dramatic irony of it all too.
And there's real life horrors in that too, because there's reasons why some of these people are where they are, why the people that are at this retreat are going there. Like you and I
Yeah.
might just be like, life's overwhelming. I just need to get out there and do stuff. But there's other people that are there, like, my life is not going the way I need it to go. Things are going crazy. I need to go there to set myself straight, set myself on the right course or so on and so forth. I talked to Philip Fracassi about the Autumn Springs nursing home
Yeah.
retirement home massacre. I always get that one wrong. It's retirement home.
Yeah.
About how that same similar idea, having a place that you're not expecting for a serial or a slasher, story to take place in a retirement home in that same part. But there's also real life horrors in that retirement home, just like there is, these people that are going to this thing. There's real life, trauma and stuff like that comes with it. But yeah, going to this place, I'm expecting to get sauna, sit in the tent, maybe smoke something that,
Yeah.
some stuff out from the woods somewhere. But yeah, it doesn't go the way they hoped it would go when they're there. Has this story been percolating for a while, and then you finally were able to get this, or was this one that you came up with more recently? I mean, that seems like a dumb question a lot of times, but like, is this
No, it's
something you've been wanting to tell for a long time? This specific story?
No, it's a good question, Nick, because it has been percolating for a long time. I mean, I live in Arizona now. I have for the last 2 years, but I lived in LA for a decade before that. So that's where like my encounters with a lot of the wellness culture happened, and where I was starting to figure out like, okay, how do I do a horror story about this world? And I did a version of this, but right after Curse of the Reaper,
Yeah.
but I hadn't quite cracked it yet, and I put it down to go do the Candy Cane books and came back to it with the clear perspective of how to how to kind of see this through to the end. So it's definitely been percolating for a while, and kind of like you were talking about with Philip's book, which I
Yeah.
loved. The setting is so key, and also the idea that like the character drama should be enough of a story without the
Yes.
murders, right?
Yes.
And that those are my favorite stories where you're like, yeah, there's plenty going on here, and also people are dying. Like
Yes.
someone's
Yes.
on a protagonist character arc, and all, and there's yeah,
When that's that connection to Final Destination, you obviously wrote this book before Bloodlines came out, but watching this movie, no spoilers here, but like they're dealing with family drama
yeah,
and people leaving and their mom not being around and all that stuff too. Like that story alone of this recluse grandmother in the
yeah,
middle of nowhere and the mom disappearing at 10 years old and just leaving is enough of a horror story or a traumatic event story in a life. Then you add in people randomly dying. Yeah, I can see that. So yeah, it's a but
yeah.
obviously you didn't they took it from you, right? The idea behind doing that
Oh yeah, the
because
lawsuit is underway, and I'm not asking for money. I'm just asking to make the next Final Destination
yes,
movie. So
there you
yeah,
go,
yeah,
man. There you go. I'll take it. No, I'm hoping now after this movie, I'm saying like they need to make another one at this point. I always thought they were done. I thought Final Destination 5 was like, okay, we're gonna move on, but no, this is
it was just
they're
announced that one of
yeah.
the co-writers of Bloodlines is writing seven now. So
There you go. See,
let's go.
let's do it. Let's do it. No, but yeah, it's a. Do you get to write off trips to the sauna and massages and all that stuff as like research for this?
Totally. The beauty of being a writer is that the tax write-offs are very flexible when it comes to research. Yeah, and all of the yeah, all of my
Yes.
trips to yoga
Yeah.
retreats and
Yep.
yeah.
All that stuff I'll include. Well, it was funny because Christopher Golden, I had Christopher Golden up here in Maine to do an event there. I did a beer with him, and we did an event up here, and he was talking about a lot of his ideas come to him in the shower. And I was like, when you renovate your shower, does that mean you get to write that off too as a whole, it's your think
Yeah.
tank? That's what we get to do. I was like, no,
You
it's,
measure
it's
the
yeah,
square footage for the
yep,
office
yep,
space.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. But it's true. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, I'm guessing you didn't go. I mean, you must have had to do some research on this stuff. I'm sure you're not like you don't sign off of here and you're going to some sort of wellness place right now. Like you obviously had to learn some more about wellness retreats and what you mentioned, like the inventory of what's there. You must have had to do some research on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the majority of it happened before I started writing it. Again, just from living in LA,
Hmm.
like being a member of a yoga gym, like
Right.
going to these storefronts that are kind of turning spiritual journeys into like capitalistic
Hmm.
pursuits. And then Joshua Tree, like
Hmm.
I've been to Joshua
Yeah.
Tree for various reasons on different occasions and kind of absorbed like that location. And but like the big things that helped this story research wise were researching like the indigenous history there of the
Yeah.
Chemehuevi, and then also the gold mining history, which came relatively late in the story development, which provided this slasher figure of Waylon Barlow. Once I realized, like, oh, there's all these abandoned gold mines all over Joshua Tree, and it's I was just like that was kind of a missing piece that really brought everything together. And yeah.
Did you you mentioned the inventory and things like that. Did you have like a list of things where you're like, okay, when I need to kill someone, I need to put this like did you like
Oh
pull from like I mean so I've always
yeah.
thought about this too. It's like you made me think about it even more when you mentioned at the beginning about this inventory, this saunas,
Yeah.
the what's there on the site of this wellness retreat it is setting up and making sure you're not losing your place or where you are or where things are, but like just like I probably think of the Final Destination writers room being more like having to be like, oh, let's do this and seeing if you can like that is an epic kill, let's see if we can fit that in there. Did you have both of that, like, okay, this is I need to kill this character this way, but I also have a way I want to kill it, so I have to write it in? Or do you I mean how does that work a little bit for you?
Yeah, it's a good question. Like I think for this book especially like I worked backwards from those death set pieces.
Mhm.
So I like to work with a cork board and index cards, and so like I don't think it's a spoiler to say that somebody dies in a yoga studio in
Mhm.
this
Yes.
book.
Yeah.
We'll say that much. So I was like, okay, like death by yoga is on the board. It's just a question of where it's going to happen and
Where
who
it's
it's
gonna
going to
happen.
happen to. And then part of that too, I think, was once I had those set piece kills, they helped me kind of reverse engineer the
Mhm.
characters because that's another thing that I love. in my favorite types of slashers are when the kills feel connected to the characters and not
Mhm.
just random. Like I think Freddy Krueger does a great job of that. He's like he targets people and what their like worst fears are and twists
Mhm.
that into a nightmare that kills them. And that for me helped me figure out who are these characters because I know how I want to kill them. So
Yeah.
let me figure out who they are so that it feels even worse when we get there.
That's when someone comes to your apartment and is like, we need to call the police. Like
Yeah,
they don't know you're a
exactly.
writer. You're like, what's this corkboard about how he wants to kill people? I don't know. It's just,
Yeah.
this is kind of crazy right now. I don't know, man. Something about a sauna and a toilet
Yeah, his
seat and
tax
a
write-offs include acid and shovels and
well, you got to learn from Dexter. You got to buy other things when you do it because if you buy other things
exactly.
when you do it, then people aren't, like, what do you need that cooler for? Like, I see if I just buy a shovel and some plastic wrap, someone's going to question it. But if you buy, some bubble gum, no one's going to question it
Yeah,
at that point. Yeah,
like
yeah,
he couldn't
Dexter.
possibly be killing people. He
You
chews
know,
gum.
that's the suspension of belief sometimes. And I just rewatched the whole Dexter seasons, and I was like, there's some times where I'm like, how did people not know he was the killer? But like, it's just like, oh, okay, I got to suspend the belief on that and move on. But yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's the thing. So if I feel like if you're a Scream fan, then you could be, it's not just okay. You're a fan of Ghostface. Like if you're a Scream
Right.
fan because you're a fan of Ghostface and you're a fan of the characters that are specifically in that series of films, then obviously it doesn't mean that one equals one, you're going to like this book. But if you like the way that it goes about things and
Mhm.
the some of the comedy that goes into it as well, and some perfectly timed humor in places, but also the craziness of something and the mystery and the whodunit and all that stuff. That's where I think you'd like this book. If you like, the Final Destination Kills to a point, then you're gonna like this book in that sense too. What else draws people into this book, in your opinion? Like, what else? What's your sales pitch for people who want to read this book outside of those two things? Is there other things that you want to tell people about this book that draw people in?
Great question. I think as I mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
like if you're listening and you're wary of slashers and gory horror, again, I would reiterate that like it has that murder mystery thriller
Mhm.
plot and pacing. So I've seen a lot of readers in their early reviews say like I don't normally need read or like I've never read a slasher or I don't
Mhm.
read horror books, but the cover got me and I actually loved it. And that's my favorite. I mean, I love getting reviews from slasher fans who are like, I know every reference in this. This is so my fucking jam.
Yeah, it's
Um,
exactly.
but I also love the new readers who are like, I think this might be a genre I want to read more of.
Mhm.
So that, and then I would also say like Midsummer was a reference point
Yeah.
in kind of the sales pitch because there is this kind of element of going to this remote location and this kind of like cultural whiplash of how people process grief and through different kind of rituals.
Mhm.
So there is, if you like that kind of A24 tinged like grief horror, but maybe a little bit less heavy and more of a fun spin on
Yes.
on a
Yeah.
midsummer kind of situation.
Yeah. It's a it's unique in that sense, but it's also like I said, I like a book that's 100% unique. Like it's, oh my gosh, I can't believe this person's just like groundbreaking. But I also like the one that has that enough comparisons to it. And I've said multiple times on this podcast or in reviews or to friends or whatever that there's sometimes some people go, oh, Midsummer meets Scream, and you're like, I guess like you're reaching there or whatever, so on and so forth. But there's certain ones, and I feel like there's certain times where I'm like, I get it.
Yeah.
There's just I've always said Tony Fleece and Trish Forster has a graphic novel called Stray Dogs, and it looks like All Dogs Go to Heaven animation, but it's like they say it's Silence of the Lambs meets All Dogs Go to Heaven, and to me, I was like, that is so perfect. I love that. So this does fit that. I'm glad it does because sometimes I'm just like, don't do that. I don't, like, come on, the comparisons there are not there, whatever. But I think that's there, and I think that has that appeal to it, and I think that you need to draw some people in. Again, I'm a big fan if a cover sells things. I mean, I make beer labels for beer. So if
Oh
a
yeah.
beer label makes you buy a beer, who cares what
Oh
the
yeah.
contents of that beer is? Like if I got you to
Yep.
buy it. But there is something about that on this too, and it has this like. What era would you think that? What kind of style of artwork is that?
I
Like
mean,
it's
I think it's like pulpy,
yeah, pulpy. Yeah,
like,
so
and
say yeah, yeah.
yeah, it also like to me like and this is another thing I mentioned in the author's note that I wrote before I even saw the cover, which was like the giallo influence, which was like the horror films, the murder mysteries from Italy in like the
Mhm.
70s that were based on these yellow cover pulp fiction books, and they
Yeah.
had that kind of crime pop art.
Mhm.
And so when I saw this cover, I was like, oh, this tonally like really nails what it is. And it's hard to, like you're saying with comps, right? Of X meets Y. It's hard because then it's like, well, what element of Scream is are you referencing? Is it the
Yeah.
tone? Is it the pacing? Is it the like there's so many different ways you
Characterizations.
could
Yeah, yeah,
be,
yeah.
yeah. But yeah,
And then
when it
people get upset with you because they're like, "This is nothing like Scream. This book sucks." And it's like, well,
yeah.
that's not, you know, again, to relate to the beer world, it's like someone's like, I don't like this beer. I don't like IPAs. Well, like, well, then you don't like IPA. Then you're not gonna
Yeah.
like this beer, right? So like this,
You were
if you
never
don't,
gonna like
we're
it.
never gonna like this beer. So I don't like this. So there is that comparison. There is that possibility you can run into that as well by like making comparisons to other things, or Brian McAuley is the new XYZ author. It's like, well, they're nothing like XYZ. I don't know why people are comparing him that way, and then it could ruin everything
Yeah.
going forward. But I see it, and I could see it in a way that fits so that you can find those people that are in that genre. I
Right.
also love that you're a screenwriter and a professor. You teach screenwriting and you teach stuff around screenwriting, and that all of the comparisons are movies. Uh,
Yeah.
that also is funny to me because I'm like, there
Yeah.
wasn't like it's Scream meets this book. It was
Right.
like it's this movie meets this movie, and I'm like, okay, I can see where that comes from too. Is this
Yeah.
something that you would love to see a screenplay, and obviously financially, and to see it continue and all that stuff? But like, with going into it, do you think about that nowadays as someone who's a screenwriter as well?
Yeah, I think I innately have accepted, and I used to like worry about this, and now I don't because I just recognize like that's four books deep. I'm like, this is just part of my voice as an author, is that I
Hmm.
write cinematic books, and that's not a bad thing. That readers enjoy that, and that there's certainly a lot more depth in the book than you could get out of a screenplay, which is why I prefer to write them now. But certainly pacing wise, uh, I plot my stories for books the same way I would a screenplay. So that's part of where I think a lot of reviewers note that like this felt like I was watching a movie, and a lot of readers saying like I read this in one or two sittings, and that's
Yeah.
that's very intentional for me craft wise to be like I want to make sure when you get to the end of a chapter, I'm gonna put a little hook there to make you turn that page because I love that as a reader and I love that as a viewer. And that's yeah, that's kind of what I lean into.
I literally today, this morning, I read someone who was like, "Oh, I read it in one sitting." I'm like, first of all, good for you. But second of all, I'm like, I don't care how good the book is. There's no fucking way I'm reading this book in one sitting. I am the kind of person where I sometimes balance between reading super fast and I get to a chapter, I'm like, God damn it, I don't know what I just read and I have to go back, or reading too slow. And then I'm like, this book is taking me 6 years to read, but I'm trying to take everything in. And I'm trying to find that balance sometimes. But one sitting to me, I'm sorry. I don't have enough patience in the first place. I don't care how good. That could be the best book I've ever read in my entire life, and I'm not reading it all in one sitting.
Yeah, I mean, I there are days in my process with a book where I'm like, today is the day that I need to read the whole thing front to back in one
Yeah.
day because I need to like catch things that I might forget if I go to sleep and wake up, and
Hmm.
I need to make sure the setups and payoffs and all of that. And those are hard days, and that's my own ass book, like to read it all in one day. But yeah, but I'm grateful to those who find the time to do it.
I can watch your movies in one day. How about
Yeah.
that? I can probably watch all of your movies in one day, to be honest with you. But no,
That sounds like a
they're
terrible marathon. I'll send you some
well,
some
man.
whiskey for that.
Two of them that I know of have nannies in it, so I don't know how I might get nannied out. I don't know.
It was supposed to be a sequel actually, and then it got
Really?
changed. Yep.
Well, it's TV movie, so that's probably where they're like, whatever, just get
Yeah.
it out on the TV.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's I don't know. I just there's a review version of me reading. There's a I don't know, and I'm
Mm.
excited because what I'll end up doing is I read this for a while back now. I tend to sometimes read it too early, and then I'm like, oh, I want to have the author on as we get closer to the release date, and I'm like, crap, I read this 2 months ago, and
You're like, I don't remember shit about it. Yeah.
exactly. I'm like, I remember some of it, but I'm like, wait a second, do I remember all? And I read so much that it's like things start to mold together. I'm like, wait, at the end, she ends up at a retirement home, right? And there's a serial killer there too. Is that wait, that's Philip's book.
You're like, wait,
um,
no, wrong.
I'd see a crossover between that. No, but
Yeah.
but yeah, so there's this like behind this. Well, I'll probably end up what I'll end up doing is like on August or September 3rd, I'll listen to the audiobook and get an
Oh
entire
yeah.
like different experience from what this is. And I did that. I just recently had Paul Tremblay on, and I did the same thing. I read horror movie over again, but in audiobook format, and it was like cool because the audio his that audiobook was pretty cool too because they added some things in there as a screenwriter. You'll appreciate this too. They added like mess ups on reading the screenplay on
Oh
purpose.
yes. Oh,
So
that's
they
great.
repeated the line over again, and he got so many messages from people like, "Hey, you know, there's a mistake in there." He's like, "No, that's on purpose." It's what would
Yeah,
really happen if they're like reading through the script. They'd be reading, "Oh crap, I didn't get that line correctly," and they'd say it over again. And I was like, that it's an entirely different experience, which is pretty cool.
that's
And,
so fun.
and so hopefully, like I say, hopefully someone hearing people say people's names or their accents or whatever, however the voice inflection or anything like that on an audiobook is really cool to do that too. That's why I loved reading Candy Cane Kills #1 on audiobook. But
Oh yeah.
where's #2? Let's go.
Got to get it. It's got, we'll see. But yeah, there's definitely going to be an audiobook for
Yeah,
this one, I think, on release day. And
yeah,
I'm excited. Yeah, got to listen to some samples of potential narrators. And it's helpful as an author to listen to those just to hear like your own words
yeah.
spoken by somebody else. But yeah,
You're like, wait a second, that's not the right way to say that person's name.
you're
I
like,
have a
I don't even
process.
know when I put it on the page, but I
Yeah.
guess.
Well, that's to me, it's always the best thing because there's times where I've read a book and I've seen a word and it's definitely don't know how to say that word. And I
Yeah.
looked it up online, I still don't know how to say that word. So I make up how it sounds. And the
Yeah.
rest of the time I read that book, I'm like, that's how that word is said. That's how the town in New York is said. Or that's how, like whatever it
Oh
may
yeah.
be, is how it is. Listening to an audiobook, you're like, and then you listen to it later in an audiobook, like, oh, I was way off. That's
Yeah.
not
It's
anywhere near
not
what
even.
it's. But yeah, it's
I
a
thought it was Worcester. I was way
well,
off.
see, I had this problem. I just actually finished it this morning on audiobook. Paul Dworin writes these books called they're the Mike Bowditch Mysteries, and they're
Okay.
based in Maine. There's like 14 of them, and it's this one game warden based in Maine, and it's his exploits of saving the state of Maine from murders and animals and all that stuff.
Right.
And there's sometimes they do say the names like Bangor, Maine, which is my name, like the town next to me where Stephen King is from,
Right.
Banger, and I'm like, dude, the guy's from Maine. You don't think that there's but then I'm like, wait, was it on purpose because the person's not from here? Or, like,
Right.
so then I'm trying to
The
figure out whether or
layers.
not that's, yeah, was it on purpose? But like, it's the same narrator for all 14 books.
Oh,
So at
that's
some
interesting.
point, someone would have had to tell him that's not how you say it. You got to say it
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
But, it's the same thing with Stephen King's book. Every once in a while, they'll say things, and I'm like, wait a second. Did anybody look at this sound?
Yeah.
This is not how you say that. Come on.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I said, to me, audiobook is one of those things that you're going to get more readers, obviously, off of audiobooks too, because you're going to get the person who doesn't want to read the book, doesn't have time, and so on and so forth. So I've done that recently. Someone's been like, "Hey, can I send you an arc?" I'm like, "I don't have time. If you have
Right.
an audiobook version of it, I'll listen to that because I do have time for that, but I don't have time to
Right.
physically sit down and read it." And so
Makes
that's
sense.
what Sarah Gailey's new book. I'm doing that with Spread Me. I'm like, I just got the Net
It's
Galia
so
approval.
good.
Have you read it?
Yeah, I got a print arc at StokerCon and I loved that one.
So, see, I was like,
Oh,
I saw it come up on NetGalley. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get this, and I got approved this morning, so I'll listen to that. But I'm reading other books, so I just can't, physically read more than one book at a time. It's not
oh
my,
yeah, totally.
and I can't read all in one day. Sorry, it's not me.
Mm.
Uh, but so you have this book coming out. You've been working on it for a while. You've been promoting it for a little while now. You're right around the corner here. September 2nd is right around the corner. Breathe in, bleed out from Poison Pen Press. It's worth getting. If you're listening to this, this will be a week or so before. Go pre-order it still because that's worth it's weight in gold. Go pre-order it. Get people to buy it. Get your friends to buy it. Buy a copy. Tell your local library that you need it at your local library. All that stuff. You also have. I'm super pumped about Curse of the Reaper coming out in paperback in
Yes.
October, which is perfect timing, pretty much, obviously too. If you're looking for like a nice Halloween spooky like horror book to read, I think it's October 21st it comes out.
It's
Uh,
actually
is it
September.
now?
Well, it's September 30th. I'm looking
Is
at my
it?
calendar. One, two,
I could have
three,
saw it
four.
just
Yeah.
said this morning. It said it was.
I think the hardcover came out in October last year, October 4th. But yeah, September 30th. So literally four
Oh yeah,
weeks after Breathe and Bleed Out. And
yeah,
yeah, and that was a 2022 book. So it's
yeah.
taken 3 years.
Hmm.
But I just approved of the updated like back of cover and interior praise pages and things like that. And I'm so grateful. I think, you know, the delay in getting a paperback worked out in my favor to a degree because I think Breathe and Bleed Out is going to reach a lot more readers. And then if they like it, then 4 weeks later, they've got a new book from me. If
Yeah,
they haven't
yeah.
read me before,
Well,
then
and your name is a little bit more now. Now I think that Shortwave and Alan doing the whole killing, Candy Cain Kills with you, and then Candy Cain Kills, having basically two and now three books come out in between the two, the hardcover and the paperback. It's actually pretty cool on that side too. So you have that ability to be like someone who fell in love with you, between those books now has something
mhm,
to read. And some people wait for the cheaper and the whatever. To me, I'm like,
for
I
sure.
gotta get hardcover when there is a hardcover because your other books are in hardcover.
I
But
know. And then
Curse of the
they,
Reaper is on the wall over there on a bracket, so it doesn't really matter because that's on the
thank
wall
you.
over there. And then your Candy Cane Kills ones are all over there next to my Goosebumps books because they all got to go in an order too.
I love that.
Yes,
Yeah,
oh
it's
yeah,
wild the whole hardcover thing. It's like because once they're gone, they're gone. So like I have a some left here for like
yeah.
that I'll sell at events, but I'm like, at what point do I keep a certain amount of those because then it'll just be the paperback and
Hmm.
audio available. But yeah, the Breathe and Bleed Out is paperback only, which I do also like to because that it's $18 instead of
From the
twenty eight
beginning. Yep.
dollars. Yeah, and that accessibility I think is helpful. But yeah, I'm excited to have the Reaper paperback finally, and I've not gotten a chance to see what it to hold it
Yeah.
yet, but yeah, I think September 30th that, and then right in the middle of that, I'm in an anthology with Death by TBR Books,
Nice.
Twisted Tales to Tell in the Night. So I have
Hmm.
a flash fiction Halloween story in there, um, and that'll yeah, I'll be coming out while I'm touring all over the place.
And then you'll be no books for like 14 months.
Yeah, I'm like I'm gonna go on a wellness retreat for a full year
Yeah.
and come back.
Well, I think it was last year. I think when Pay the Piper came out for Daniel Kraus, it was like Pay the Piper came out on like the Tuesday, and the following Tuesday the Whale Fall paperback came out, and
Yeah,
so it was like all those people. I'm like, we're on a budget here, people. Like,
I know.
and I said, well, I'm almost thinking about this bleed in and breathe in, bleed out paperback is that it is helpful because the September is so loaded that
Yeah,
having an $18 paperback and that's the only option at the time. It's perfect because then I can, if I have to spend the money on something else, I'll go spend the money on something else. But then this is
exactly.
$18 and have to, and maybe if you have some copies, I'll just buy one from you when I
Yep.
see you
Well, they
later.
will be on sale when I'm at Spooktastic.
Yes, see,
Yeah,
there you go. That's even better because then I buy from you
yeah.
instead of my local bookstore getting the money.
I think it
Super less
actually
great.
is through Copper Dog Books, I want to say, is doing all the
Okay,
book sales. Yeah.
nice. Okay, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so everybody wins.
It wins, yeah, something. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, so you have this books coming out, stuff like that. You mentioned doing books over that. You're teaching,
Yeah.
so obviously having to balance your teaching classes and also trying to write books and obviously doing promotion and taking the time to do podcasts and things like that. Coming out to the Northeast to an event and so on and so forth. Are you still? I mean, I know you have a passion for screenwriting. Are you still like dabbling in screenwriting? Are you still trying to get things purchased, or are you just focusing on teaching and writing
I mean,
novels?
basically at this point, I have I wrote a script adaptation of the first Candy Cain Kills book, and I actually just had a call with a potential director this week on that one. But at this point, I'm not writing spec scripts or like trying to go out for open writing assignments or TV staffing jobs. For me, the writing is focusing on books and short stories and then figuring out what the best route for adaptation is. So like
Hmm.
Curse of the Reaper, I optioned to another writer director to like run with it. Candy Cane, I was like, this is almost too easy to give the job to someone else. So I'm just going to
Yeah,
write the
yeah.
script and then we shop that. Breathe and Bleed Out, we're shopping the book around and it will just be individual conversations around like, am I going to really demand to adapt it or am I cool with collaborating or giving it to somebody? So that's where I'm at on the screenwriting front is just more that I want to create the IP and then find the
Mhm,
collaborators and the kind of the puzzle pieces fitting in different ways depending on the project.
mhm.
Um, but yeah, and then teaching full time. it's going to be a busy fall with traveling on top of that.
Yes, yes. Well, yeah, it sucked, and things happen too. So it's like, oh, we're saying I'll see you in September, but speaking of Daniel Krause got COVID at
I
San Diego Comic Con, had to cancel half of his tour. So like,
I
it's
know.
one of those things that comes up, and I got my kid got sick last year when I was trying to come to Massachusetts, and so things happen. But yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, so your passions right now are really and your time. Obviously we have to manage our time. Plus, you need to have free time to do your life as well. This is not where selfishly we all want you just to be sitting at a computer all day
Yeah.
typing away. But yeah, you have to live your life too. But so yeah, so teaching and getting these novels, writing some new novels and writing these novels and getting some stuff out. It also gives you the ability, if you end up writing something like a novel, to then say, I don't have time to write this script, so I want
Yeah.
someone else to do that. And so, which is kind of
Absolutely.
cool too. Yeah, it's a thing, and I think that it's not that it's easier, but with your name now and having you have a deal, is it a multiple book deal at Poison Pen, or is this a single book?
This was just a one book, so
Okay.
they're reading the next one now. So I already wrote another book, and then while I'm waiting, because I don't really do good with waiting. I'm now like 50,000 words into the book after after that, because
That's
I
perfect.
just can't stop.
No.
And I had an idea that I was like, all right, I don't want it to get cold on me,
Hmm.
so let's just keep writing the next thing, and that's always kind of where I'm at with it. Is just like, what's the next story that I'm just
Hmm.
like burning to tell?
Hmm. And that's the thing is I think what I like is talking to people like yourself is that obviously selling these books and getting paid is to pay bills and things like
Yeah.
that is important. But a lot of these stories are in your mind. You want people to read them. You want these out there. You want people to see this. So yeah, getting this on paper and getting it out there and so on and so forth, so that if say Poison Pen or someone else decides to buy your next book, you're not just like, okay, cool, I'll give me a couple months to write it and then I'll get to like there's
Yeah.
this now you have this potential schedule to be yearly or each 16, 18 months, that kind of thing, which is good.
Yeah, and that's,
Because
part of it too is my teaching schedule is like just so happened that I was able to, finish a book right before summer started, and I was like, okay, cool. So I'm going to take summer off, right? Right, Brian, to myself. And then after like 1 week, I was going so stir crazy. I was like, who do I think I am? Like, of course I need something to work on. So
yes.
just I talked to my agent. I was like, I think I'm just gonna. He's like, yeah, obviously you are. Like, go, write it.
Yeah, Friday. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's awesome. I think it's to me. I was like, to me, it's the same thing. Like we got the Candy Cane Kills of it all, the two novellas in the middle of it. But like, I mean,
Yeah.
ever since I dove into Curse of the Reaper the first time, I'm like, Brian, get off your ass and write another
Yeah.
novel because I wanted that thing. And so it's selfishly a lot of us fans of authors. And one of the things I wrote about in my review that will be published later this week about why I love horror. It's like you guys are so passionate in the horror industry, in the horror, so hits horror genre, whether it be movies or whatever, books, magazines, comics, whatever it may be. It's like they're so passionate, and there's a community there that you all want it. And all of us don't care who writes the next great novel in the horror genre. We just want that novel. If someone's never heard of you, but they hear about this book, they
Yeah.
don't care that you wrote it. They want that book. And then they may fall in love with you and wanting more books and things like that. To me, I'm like, I'll see a book and someone's like, you should read this book. And I have no idea who the author is. But I got
Yeah.
like three recommendations. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a read. And then I'm like, oh, cool. This person is now, in my list
Yeah.
of when their books come out. And so the horror genre is like that. Huh, we're haunted in here.
You
Hellboy
were
just fell off the wall.
hot.
Christopher
Oh boy.
Golden.
Oh no.
Christopher Golden's Hellboy.
Oh, that's
Um,
beautiful.
yeah, you don't have one up there because like half your stuff is not.
I don't think there's physical media.
No,
Um,
you might have coming in the mail, and I'm gonna have to send it up to you to get signed. Or when I see you in September, I'll get it signed. Is this first season of Fuller House?
no way.
Yeah, so I got that. I got that on DVD coming, and then I'll bring it to you. And
Oh
because I
my
tried,
God. That will
like
be a
you're
first.
dismissed. It's like
Yeah.
$65 on Amazon right now, and there's like $150 copy of it on eBay.
See, it's just that good of a movie. No,
Do you have any
that
copies of it?
I do not. I don't even have a copy of that. I did look
I
at
thought
one
maybe it
point.
was you selling it on eBay.
Yeah, right. That would be no. At one point, I should have done when they first had the
Yeah,
Blu-rays. I should
yeah,
have just gotten one, but I
yeah,
didn't. It just was not thinking ahead. And I'll use. It's streaming free on Amazon Prime right
yes,
now for
yeah,
anybody who wants to check it out. But I'll use that for like if I'm teaching a lesson in class and I want to
yeah,
use my own work as a reference point to talk about my process.
yeah,
I just like hop on Amazon and I'm
yeah,
like, we're
exactly.
screening this scene. Um, but yeah, I
But
do not even have a physical copy of that one.
See, I've got Santa Paws 2 over here, which was the song, and that was written by Philip Fracassi. So
Yes.
that's over here. So that's
Yeah,
that too.
Philip
But
Philip
yeah.
and I have a lot of funny things in common in that regard of
Yes.
writing these
Well,
TV movies.
well, it's funny because like you go to his website and it says he's written, da, 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 he's got writing credits for Disney and a bunch of other things. I'm
Yeah.
like, but there's no name of the movies that he's written.
Oh
And
yeah.
I was like, what the hell? So I went to his IMDb and I'm like, wait a second. I didn't even know there was a Santa Paws 1. And now he's over here writing Santa Paws 2. And he's like, yeah, there's a song that we created for this movie. So I got a writing credit on it and all that stuff. I'm like, cool. There you go. It's signed by
Yeah, that
Philip
was there's
Fracassi.
actually a song in my episode of Fuller House that I get like music royalties on as a songwriter,
There you go.
which is like, yeah, I forget that sometimes.
By the way,
Um,
if anybody hasn't seen this, Santa Paws 2, it's dark. No, seriously, if you get a chance to
no.
read this, it is that Philip's like, yeah, people sometimes are like, wow, man, like that's a kid's movie. Like there's moments in there you're just like, whoa, they went there. And yeah, it's like deaths of some things, and there's yeah,
It's
it's
all
scary.
dogs go to the North Pole instead of heaven.
But yeah, so I have like a custom some movies. I got Wings signed by David Goodman, comic book
Yeah.
writer. And so yeah, we got all kinds of stuff back here. But Goosebumps signed by Tim Jacobus, the author, the cover artist of
Artist.
Goosebumps. But yeah, so Breathe In, Bleed Out comes out September 2nd at bookstores everywhere. So just tell your local bookstore whether they normally carry Poison Pen Press or not. Just tell them you want it. They'll be able to get it. I always say, go local. Then there's bookshop.org if you want to do it online or still supports local. Libro FM, if they have it available on there. I'm not sure yet when their audiobook comes out, do that. However, the number one thing is that I love this book, so I want you to buy the book. If you have to buy it on the big Amazon website, then buy it on Amazon. Don't buy it because
Don't.
because of this. Or if you can't afford it or whatever, just tell your local library,
Yeah.
hey, I want to read this book, and they'll get a copy in for you so you can take it out of the library because that's huge too. Because there's a number of libraries in this country that could use this book on the shelf.
Yes, and librarians have been really wonderfully supportive of this book. When does this episode come out?
Either the 20th or the 27th. I haven't figured that out yet, but
Okay, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
okay.
But
But what's also cool, and if anybody wants to listen to next week, the next podcast episode on this
yeah,
one. So Brian, you can figure that out too. Is I'm talking to Ashley Cullens, who wrote Your Favorite Scary Movie, which is awesome dissection and discussion and interview with
yeah,
people about the Scream franchise. So I think it's
yeah.
perfect. That wasn't on purpose, by the way. That
Oh
wasn't like
yeah,
but it works out really well in that sense that this book has in the same realm of fandom, and so that's pretty cool. On the next episode, we'll be also talking about this, and I'll probably bring this book up. How about that? Would that be great
yeah.
too? There
Oh
you
my
go.
God, look at that synergy. Love it.
Did you hear who's narrating the audiobook?
No, is it?
Roger
I knew it.
Jackson.
Oh my God.
I'm like, are you kidding me?
Is it going to be just with like his normal voice or
I
as
don't
Ghostface?
know.
It would be
I
too
was
much
like,
as a whole book as Ghostface would
well,
be
I
a
think
bit
he's
much.
interviewed. Now that I think about it, he's interviewed in the book. So maybe he does Ghostface for the whole book, except for when he talks about himself. Then he
That
just
would be
talks in his
hilarious.
normal voice. And now
That
Roger
would be,
Jackson has to say, and he just speaks in his normal voice. No,
that's so good.
maybe he'll do one of his other voice acting
Yeah.
things, like his wide catalog of voice acting. He'll just do that voice for the whole thing. You're like, wait a second,
I love
what's
that.
going on here right now? But yeah, so this book comes out, Breathe In, Bleed Out comes out September 2nd at your bookstores. Also coming out in September, we mentioned Curse of the Reaper paperback. Grab that. Listen to Candy Cane or buy Candy Cain Kills from Shortwave. Go right to their
Yeah.
website to buy that. There's the number one, number
It's the
two.
best.
And I just got the Long Low Whistle in my email this morning. So I
No
can't wait to
way.
read that. I'm starting to read that
Oh,
tonight. Excited.
I'm so
Laura
excited.
Hightower.
She's such a
Killer
great
VHS
writer.
is awesome. I mean, I literally haven't read anything from Shortwave that I haven't been like, this is amazing. So
Yeah,
we're good. If it's Shortwave publishes something now, Alan's great. I'm gonna read it anyway. But yeah,
the best.
it's enough. Promoting other people's books. Breathe
Yep.
In, Bleed Out, Curse of the Reaper. Do it all. Go watch Dismissed on Amazon Prime, or sorry, Prime. They actually
Oh,
emailed an advertisement once, or like, hey, promote this book, this movie. And we're like, cool. And it says, make sure you just say Prime, not Amazon Prime. So
oh,
go watch
interesting.
Dismissed on Prime.
Stand corrected.
Yeah. HBO Max, whatever the hell. It's one of
Yeah.
those things. But yeah, I appreciate it, Brian, taking the time out and talking to me. I'll see you in September. If anybody's in Massachusetts, September 13th, at the Spooktastic Book Fair over at Framingham Public Library. It's going to be a blast. Brian's joined with a bunch of other people. Guest of honor is Haley Piper, who's going to be phenomenal. So do that, listen to that too. Go there and visit and say hi and all that stuff too. Plus a number of other creators and things like that there too. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm hot in here now. The air conditioner is not on, so I got to turn the air conditioner on, Brian. But I do appreciate it. Yeah, I do appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on here and chat with us about Breathe In, Bleed Out, and so much more. We'll have to have you on again in the future for sure.
I would love that. Thanks so much for taking the time, Justin, and I will see you at Spooktastic.
Oh, and we'll finish off. Hey, thank you for putting me in the acknowledgments in the back of this book, or Capes and Tights podcast. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Of course.
Thanks, buddy. See ya.
Take care.